basically the description, right, is translated into this diagram. We want to calculate the measure of angle B2. So this is the angle that we're interested in. And we notice that there's a pair and that this side is going to allow me to solve for that angle. So the setup would be sine of 12.5 degrees over 3.5 miles is equal to sine of B2 over 1.8 miles. If you have this set up, I'll give you 1 mark already because you've recognized it's sine law, you set it up. And then 1 mark for the work and the final answer. So sine of B2, notation is important to me, so if you want full marks, right, it's 1.8 times sine of 12.5 divided by 3.5. You get 0.1113, and that keeps going. So the last line is B2 is equal to sine inverse of 0.1113 and something. So use all decimals. So angle B2 is 6.39, which probably threw you off, right? But it's time to give you examples where it is going to be weird, right? Your answers are not always going to be like 30, 40, 50, right? They're going to be sometimes very small answers, sometimes very big angles, right? So that's how you did that one. You get another mark for the correct final answer. So 2 marks, maybe give yourselves a mark out of 2 there. Calculate the angle formed at B1, then calculate the direct distance between the drone and the second building. So we want this here as well. So I'm going to put an X there, right? That's what we're going to solve for. Let's figure out B1 first. So we know 2 of the 3 angles already. So I'm just going to go 180 minus 6.39 minus 12.5. That gives you 161.11 degrees. You get a full mark for that. That's what the province does. That's what I'm going to do today. So that's important. And so now we're going to solve for that side. I don't know what you used. We can use cosine law or sine law in this case because you've got lots of information. I'm going to use this angle here as the 161.11 as side angle side. So I'm going to show you how to do cosine law there. So x squared is going to be 3.5 squared plus 1.8 squared minus 2 times 3.5 times 1.8 times cosine of 161.11. If you take the root, if you get all of this in one shot, that is 27.411, and that keeps going. So x is 5.24 miles. Regardless if you use sine law or cosine law, you get that answer. I checked. I actually have sine law as well. So you get 1 mark for showing me which law you're using and showing me that you've substituted correctly. And then another mark for doing the work and getting to the final answer. So if you got, obviously if you got A wrong, right, that answer there, it means that your angle here will be wrong, but you do not lose marks if you do it correctly. If you subtract the 2 angles you have from 180, you get the step. If you substitute correctly, you get the step. And if you do the work, you get the step. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Surveyors measure properties and determine where the boundary lines are. And we want the direct distance to both ends of the pond field. So this is what we want. Oh, I used cosine law already. I'm going to use it again. So we want 800 squared plus 900 squared minus 2 times 800 times 900. This is cosine law because it's side, angle, side, right? The 2 sides are connected by that angle. Cosine of 70. If you do that right, you get a really big number. 957,490.9936, and that keeps going. So you get 978.51 feet. Okay. So we actually know by this that this is the largest angle, right? Because this is the longest side, and therefore we know that none of the other angles are going to be greater than 70 degrees, right? Like that's information you can kind of gather from that as well. So 1 mark for correct substitution, 1 mark for correct work. So we are at 7 marks for this page. 7 marks. Backside. A hiker is lost in the woods. Determine the angle formed between the direct lines to each tower. Maybe this was worded a little weird, but I did want that to happen. You want the angle formed between the direct lines to each tower. Okay, so between the two lines, this is the angle that we're interested in. Okay, you can call this C for cell phone, right? So we would go cosine of C is equal to 50, right, squared plus 2420 squared minus the side that's across from it, 6,000 squared. Underneath is 2 times 50, right? And when you do the top part, you get a big number. You get negative 4,641,100. And in the denominator, you get 24,442 and 3 zeros, okay? Next, you find that cosine of angle C is cosine inverse of whatever you get when you type this into your calculator. But you got to make sure you get a negative 0.189 and then something. And that angle is 100.95 degrees. Make sure you highlight the negative, like for future reference. If you get to this part, obtuse angle. Okay, that's what we know. We know that when it's negative. Okay. Last but not least. Marks. How are we doing with marks? So I'll give you 1 mark for the correct substitution, like you setting it up. It's cosine law. You get 1 mark. I'll give you 1 mark if you get to the negative part, like whether it's a decimal or if you have done it like this. You get a mark for that, and then a mark for correct final answer. If you're copying, go for it. And the last one. Elon Musk here bought a new yacht, goes north for 10 miles. Then, watch this, it's just, you need to look at the diagram, right? If you're not sure what's happening, turns 20 degrees westward and continues to travel for 8 miles. Okay? Calculate the direct distance between his current point and the port. So this is the current and the port. So we want this right there. And if this is 20, what is this inside here? There's a straight line there, right? Think about it. Okay, if this is 20, then this is 160. So I need the 160 showing up somewhere. So for the 160, you get a mark, okay? If you figured out that 160 needs to happen somewhere, you get a mark already. Then it's side angle side. So x squared is equal to 8 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 8 times 10 times cosine of 160. You still get the mark here if you substitute correctly. If you use 20, you get this mark, but you'll lose the mark that here, that you're not getting the 160 there. Square root of 314.35, and that keeps going. So it's 17.73 miles. 1 mark for that. So 1 for work or setup, 1 for work and final answer, 1 for the 160 showing up. So this backside is worth 6 marks. Okay, 6 marks for that. And the front was worth 7 for the front, so that's a total of 13. If you want to take a picture of it before you submit it, so that